5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff.
The King of Staten Island is directed by Judd Apatow and stars Pete Davidson and Bill Burr and Steve Buscemi and a few other actresses and actors that joined the cast in this basically somewhat autobiography film on Pete Davidson, where it follows a troubled male in his 20s and seeking some solace after the loss of his father in a firefighting accident when he was a younger child. So I think he was about 7 years old when his dad died, and he's trying to live with that, and amongst other things getting into drugs and a bad crew and everything else going on in his life, trying to put the pieces back together and, you know, fill those voids that his life has while trying to, you know, set up a career and figure out what he wants to do with the rest of his life, and suffering from ADD and different, you know, social setbacks that he's trying to overcome. This is one of the many struggles in this film. So it mostly focuses on Pete Davidson's character, but also on a couple other ones. Bill Burr plays, first things first, Bill Burr in this film is really, really good. He gives a good performance. I don't know why he's so hard on himself. He's actually pretty funny in this. Also pretty stern, ironically. But pretty awesome performance from Bill Burr. It's good to see him get out there and acting and do other stuff. But he plays... one other thing too, Pete Davidson is working on a tattoo apprenticeship, so he's actually going through the steps and trying to do an apprenticeship, amongst other things in his life. And he comes across a little kid on the beach, and he's pretty much high most of the entirety of this movie. So he finds this little kid about 9 years old, and he wants a tattoo. Like, you know, talks to him like, "Hey, you want a tattoo?" Like all this stuff. He's like, the kid's like, "Yeah, you know, trying to be badass and whatnot." And then he does like a little line on the kid, like starts doing the tattoo, and the kid like jumps and he like freaks out. "No, I don't want this," and like bolts off. So they somehow the dad's fire department, the dad, little kid, Bill Burr's character, and Pete Davidson's still living with his mom, and his sister went off to college. So his sister usually kind of calms down his ADD and talks him through situations and whatnot, but she's been gone. So she leaves in the beginning of the film, and then he's just stuck there with his mom. So he's giving his mom a lot of stuff, a lot of anxiety, you know, amongst other stuff that he has to deal with, and then, you know, it's rubbing off onto her, and it's kind of creating this chaotic environment he's living in too. So one thing I will say is that it's more of a community issue, like him involved in his community and dealing with different people, and that social anxiety that he's dealing with, going through different situations and dealing with people, and, you know, trying to fit in amongst other things. So you get more of that in the first half of the film, and then he kind of overcomes certain obstacles and gets his run, if you will, you know, kind of gets that second win in the second half of the film, and actually kind of fits in more or less. So his dad his dad in real life and in the film is a firefighter that died. So you kind of get that cool perspective that he actually went through this stuff. Maybe not everything, but definitely some of it in his actual life. So it's pretty cool, that reflection into the film. But in the film, yeah, his dad dies on a call. He's engulfed in flames and, you know, dies in the fire. So he gets along with Bill Burr towards the middle of the film, after, you know, they get in a couple fights and arguments, and then like him trying to date his mom and all this other stuff, and then he resenting him because he's a firefighter and all this, you know, on the principle of, you know, his job. So they eventually get along and start building a friendship. And they start hanging out with all the firemen, and Pete Davidson gets kicked out of his mom's house, and he's going out with this old-time friend that they're kind of in a relationship but kind of not. So there's a lot of lot of basically chaotic environment with his girlfriend, so to speak, his friend girl, whatever you want to call it, longtime friend, and they have sex and whatever, and they don't have a really cohesive relationship at the time. So he tries to stay with her, and then she kicks him out. So he's left alone. He goes to the firehouse and tries to stay with Bill Burr and all the guys, and they kind of take him in under their wing, teach him the ropes a little bit. So that whole perspective was pretty cool. It's kind of a coming of age tale, in that he's at the bottom and his friends get arrested and all this other stuff. He's addicted to drugs and he's doing tattoos on kids, and also all this bad stuff in the beginning of the film is really transcended to the end, where he's built this good friendship and he's talking to firemen about his dad and what his dad went through and what the family went through, and it's pretty eye-opening. They get his perspective on things, and then he gets their perspective in return, like what they have to go through the day-to-day of the job, and how much they sacrifice and all that stuff. So it's really cool perspective back and forth there towards the last third of the film. You get all the characterization is pretty damn good in this film, I will say that. Building up his character, first and foremost, and then even like Bill Burr's character gets a lot of development. You can see what he went through with his divorce and his kids, and then his gambling addiction, and then that's actually a really funny scene, them talking about his gambling addiction. Classic Bill Burr. If you haven't seen Bill Burr, watch his stand up and all his comedy, and it really, it's pretty funny in this one. So, what else is there? Steve Buscemi's really good. He's actually a firefighter. He was prior. He actually fought the fires in 9/11 and helped the city go through, immense reorganization and the crisis and everything like that. So he came out of his acting career for 6-7 months to help run his old engine in the fire department. So it's pretty cool. Steve Buscemi's in this film, so you get an actual guy that put his life on the line for 9/11. Is pretty awesome. Pretty cool stuff there. The acting was pretty well rounded, pretty awesome, pretty good. MGK makes a random appearance in there. He's a tattoo artist. It's a complete dick to Pete Davidson, which is pretty funny. I think the third act was probably the only thing I had an issue with. I think everything else is built up really, really well. Bill Burr's kids in the film, he gets a good relationship with them. It kind of builds up his character and his coming of age tale, if you will. It just kind of ends abruptly, and without any spoilers, you guys will see the film. But everything else is pretty awesome. I think the storyline's really good. I think it has a good message. I think it transcends that cultural gap between super rich or the super successful, and then people down on their luck, the underdogs. So everybody should come together and help each other out. It's a pretty cool message. Obviously, he went through a lot with his dad dying, and some people don't go through as much, or some people fortunate, some people are unfortunate. So it's really just about bringing everybody together and helping each other out. It's a good message. But I'm gonna give The King of Staten Island a 8 out of 10. I think it is a really good movie. You should definitely check it out if you get a chance. If you like Orange County, for those of you that remember Orange County from 1,000 years ago, probably 15 years ago or so, but had Jack Black, and I forgot the name of the main actor, but it's a lot like that, Orange County, but Orange County follows a teenager, so it's a little bit different, but the same kind of thing, coming of age, the life falling apart, and nowhere to turn, nowhere to go to. Everybody's crazy in your life, or you're the crazy one, and you're not getting along with anybody, you're not fitting in, social anxiety and all that stuff. So, but with that, we got promotions. The Degenerate Zach and His Unruly Adventures is almost done. It will be out soon. I'll keep you guys posted any updates on the completion of the comic, and then actually getting it out to you guys' doors and all that stuff. It will be on the store shortly after. Since Kickstarter's funded, it will accompany those Kickstarter pledges first, so they'll get the first issues, and then after that we'll probably put it on the store a couple months after. So look for that on the store. If you did not get a copy of Kickstarter, later this year. Again, we'll keep you posted on the Facebook page. If you don't like the Facebook page, please like it. And then YouTube, subscribe to the channel. We'll get you guys any information, any news on iCore Comics, updates, etc. What you need, what you want, all that stuff. Also, Sci-Fi Sunday will be every Sunday. So if you're not looking for Sci-Fi Sunday, get that. We're also on Spotify and iHeartRadio, a couple other ones. So hope you guys are doing well with everything going on with the COVID kind of relapsing and, you know, doing what it does, and people going crazy, and masks are coming back, and, you know, whatnot. Hopefully the riots have calmed down wherever you are at. If you're in the city, please be safe. If you're going to protest, please protest safely. Don't endanger yourself or, you know, anyone else if you know, get in that situation. Be mindful, try to be curious of others and their thoughts and their ideas. So we are all pretty different. So as the media tries to, you know, split us in half, there's a lot of different ideologies out there and different opinions. So please be respectful of each other. But as most of you are, I'm sure. That's all I got. Click down below to get cryogenically frozen.